If you've been watching Telcoin lately, you already know something interesting is happening beneath the surface, something the charts only hint at, but the fundamentals quietly confirm. Tel is sitting at just above half a cent, up more than 16% in the past 24 hours, and attracting a whisper of attention again. But the question everyone keeps asking is simple: what comes next? And more importantly, what should we expect as we move into 2026? To really understand where Telcoin could be headed, you have to zoom out, not into the charts, but into the story. Because Telcoin has always been one of those projects that sits slightly off to the side of the crypto spotlight, quietly building things that don't go viral on Twitter but matter deeply to the real world. And now, that quiet work is starting to collide with the mainstream in ways that could shift the trajectory of 2026 entirely. The biggest turning point didn't come from a pump, a tweet, or a crazy news cycle. It came from something far more boring on the surface but game-changing underneath. Telcoin earning a banking charter in Nebraska. A fully regulated digital asset bank license. Not a partnership, not a pilot program, not a marketing stunt. A real regulated bank charter that allows Telcoin to operate legally across the U.S. financial system, issue compliant digital assets like eUSD, and move money in ways that only a handful of crypto-native companies have ever been allowed to. This is the kind of regulatory step that doesn't just boost credibility, it throws Telcoin into a completely new category. And 2026 is the year where this regulatory advantage starts paying off. Because once you're a bank, especially a digital asset bank, you're no longer trying to get permission to innovate. You can actually start innovating. And Telcoin's strategy is crystal clear. Build a global remittance and telecom-powered financial ecosystem that uses Tel as the engine. Telecom partnerships have always been part of the Telcoin story, but now they're expanding deeper into emerging markets. Places where Western-style fintech can't scale, but mobile-first financial tools can. If Telcoin executes, 2026 could be one of the first years where their telecom rails start driving real global usage, something that translates directly into demand for Tel through staking, governance, and network gas fees. And the exchange listings matter too. New listings on platforms like Uphold and Topper bring more liquidity, more accessibility, more reach. These aren't hype-driven meme coin listings, they're strategic moves. More holders, more regions, more ease of entry. When you pair increased adoption with expanded liquidity, you create the perfect foundation for a long-term climb. But like every good story in crypto, it comes with tension. The technical analysis shows that Tel is sitting right below a major resistance zone at $0.0067. Breaking above it could open the door for a surprisingly strong rally. But rejection at that line could send the price back toward support. And this is where 2026 becomes more about structure than speculation. Tel's circulating supply is massive, 91 billion out of 100 billion already in circulation. That means the upside is real, but so are the pressures. Large holders, whales, have been selling into recent strength, possibly taking profits or repositioning. Whale activity can weigh on price short-term, even in a strong project. Sentiment isn't helping either. The entire market is stuck in fear, and Bitcoin season means money tends to consolidate in BTC rather than flow into altcoins. For Telcoin, that means 2026 might start quieter than some expect. But in crypto, fear is often the phase where foundations get built, and Telcoin has spent the last 2 years quietly building exactly that. What really changes the future outlook is utility. Tel isn't a hype token. It's gas for the network, a staking asset, and the governance token for the entire Telcoin ecosystem. So the question becomes, will the ecosystem actually grow in 2026? If the banking charter is fully activated, if the telecom partnerships expand, if the remittance rails go live in more countries, and if stablecoin issuance like eUSD becomes widely used, then yes, usage will grow. And if usage grows, demand grows. And if demand grows, the price reflects it. But the market doesn't move on logic alone, it moves on catalysts. And Telcoin has real catalysts lined up. Regulatory clarity, new countries, new exchanges, expanded mobile integrations, and the potential for network adoption that actually impacts people's day-to-day lives. By 2026, Telcoin could be positioned as one of the only crypto projects operating comfortably both inside regulation and inside emerging markets, a rare combination. So what should people truly expect? Not a random explosive moonshot, but a slow, methodical shift in the narrative. A project moving from the shadows into the regulated financial world. A token moving from speculative asset to functional infrastructure. And a company positioning itself as a bridge between global telecommunications and decentralized finance. 2026 could be the year Telcoin stops being that quiet altcoin, and starts becoming the backbone of something bigger. But like always in crypto, it won't come without volatility. Whales will still move markets. Resistance levels will still test patience. And Bitcoin will still dominate cycles. But the core story is changing. And if Telcoin continues on this trajectory, 2026 might be the year where the fundamentals finally begin to outweigh the fear. In the end, Telcoin's future isn't built on hype. It's built on regulation, adoption, utility, and infrastructure. And that's exactly why its long-term expectations look more compelling than ever.